Do I think that Sam Laporta will put up? Also, I emphasized this in one episode, and I want to emphasize it one more time. What in the world is that mustache, bro? He has the Dr. Eggman. I have to stop Sonic the Hedgehog mustache. Can we zoom in on this really quick? What the heck is that one? That was like what the Mario movie where Chris Pratt played Mario. That's what he's looking like. Got the blue eyes and everything. The schnoz on this guy. I really think that is something that needs to be spoken about. Sam Laporta, I love you, brother. You made me lose my fantasy last year. Shave that shit off.
That's all I need. We in Miami turning up another notch. We smoking broccoli, but she smelling like a rat. I'm in on pennies trying to get out in a crack. Friends on my friends, and they trying to get God. Her name is Angel, but she's far from God. Something lining up. Then did you for enough? I think it's about time we stop playing with them. I think is the problem. You know what I'm saying? Had to let them know what the prime time was, but we'll get there. Don't even worry about it. We'll roll across that as we cross that bridge. Oh my God! And just like that, I pause the music. We get a little serious. It gets a little intimate. We get a little delicate. It gets a little intricate. I get a little specific, hitting with words that are so terrific. It's the one and only. It's Cody's Corner. As I usually do. Hello, everybody, and welcome officially to Cody's Corner. Cody's week-by-week hot takes on who's going to take the W in the sports you're worried about. Little solo episode today. I'm just going to get right into it. I got nothing really to dwindle on, to run my thoughts in circles around. Other than this, before we hop right into football, I got to talk a little baseball. You know, the people in the area, shout out to Jersey, deserve this news. As of last Tuesday, the Yankees became the second team in the AL to clinch playoff spot with a walk-off win over the White Sox. Now, we can clap that up for sure. Clap that up for sure. I'm just going to tell you how it is, man. We're glad to see it. You know, we're happy to see the way that Judge is moving. In case nobody was following, Aaron Judge just hit his 52nd home run on Friday. I'll put the clip up.
That one's driven deep to center field. Going back, Cowser still back. Track, wall, see ya. Right over the wall into Monument Park. A two-run home run for Judge. Number 52. And the Yankees retake the lead.
And we're just playing hot, man. They're tied for first right now with Toronto. The first place in the division will earn a bye. Obviously, we really want that bye week. And I'm just going to go through the teams that are definitely in it already. So we got the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Padres, the Yankees, the Mariners, and the Red Sox. And everybody else still in the fight as of today, Saturday, September. What day is today? The 27th. So, best of luck. It's kind of funny to see the Mets still climbing for that spot. But we're happy to see that the Yankees are in contention. Now, before we jump into football, I want to say this. I got a new little bobblehead, guys. No, I wouldn't call it a bobblehead. Oh, takeoff fell. Damn. Whatever, he could lay down right now. Got a little figurine. Feel me? I'm not going to disclose too much, but shout out to my job. Feel me? Hit me with the figurine. It's called a Game Changer. I don't know if there's any way I could zoom in on that, but there's 6 of them. Maybe I just end up with all 6, but I had to hit them with the Aaron Judge, especially after he's 4th in all of MLB in home runs right now. So, big shout out to him. Big shout out to the area. The Yankees alive right now. And that's really all there is to it, man. So, we're going to jump into some football. I got to say, the defense came to play in that Thursday night football game. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Trying to record this really quick for the people. You feel me? So, just like that, we're live. So, scrolling through this, watching it myself personally, I was kind of bored watching that game because Kyler Murray really didn't have any room to do anything. It was a couple of picks. Defense, like I said, was just all over the place, which kind of leads to a boring game, which is a little unfortunate, but it doesn't mean that someone's doing anything bad. It's just not those offensive highlights that people want to see. And Jigba was shut down. I believe he only had 79 receiving yards, and that's just really what it was. It was just it was a hard game to watch, even though it ended up 23-20. That was all in the fourth quarter, because if you look right here, it was 7-3, then 14-3, and then 2 field goals in the third. So up until the third, it really wasn't an eventful game at all, and then it all kind of happened in the fourth. So big shout out to Sammy D. He shows like little glimpses of who he was in Minnesota, and then he shows little glimpses of who he was in New York. It's kind of like he'll make this groundbreaking play, and then the next play he'll have no room, and he'll just like have to reap the benefits of whatever he decided to do when he had no time. So is he who he was with O'Connell in Minnesota? No, but he's not as bad. He kind of like averaged out somewhere in between who he was last year and who he was as we all know him. So that's who he is right now. We can get out of this one, honestly. I want to talk the 2 big games coming up on Sunday. We got Green Bay against Dallas. That's the Sunday night game. It's pretty cool. We'll click on that really quick. NBC. It looks like, yeah, and don't let anybody forget, Green Bay lost to Chicago last week, if I'm not mistaken, right? We could pull that up really quick. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. They lost to the Browns. Wrong orange team, my bad. And I couldn't believe that, but their defense, Cleveland's defense, is absolutely no joke. The ability to shut down what Jordan Love had going on is amazing. Now, Dallas does not have that same defense. Dallas is known for their offensive coach as well as their many talented offensive players. CeeDee Lamb is out of the equation, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see how long it says he's going to be out for. Here we go. Tyler Booker, has been ruled out for Sunday's game against Green Bay. So, they're not playing with a CeeDee Lamb. It's kind of hard to envision that Dallas wins this game. But who knows? I don't think anybody had Cleveland beating Green Bay last week either. So that one's kind of up in the air. We're going to get a little past what's going on in that one. And then let's see. We could pick another good one. The Colts and the Rams. I'm kind of excited about that one in SoFi. You got the Colts that are absolutely killing it. Daniel Jones is looking like an animal out there. But I have a theory about Indianapolis, right? Because I want to put this big question up, and I'll put it up on the screen. What is wrong with Anthony Richardson, right? Because the first year Anthony Richardson was out, and we had, what's his name? Gardner Minshew was the quarterback, right? And they were going insane. I believe that Jonathan Taylor also wasn't there. And they were just slinging the ball, if I remember correctly. See if I can find a little clip of Gardner Minshew in Indianapolis. They were going crazy. That was when Michael Pittman really emerged. And they were really turning nothing into something over there. Oh, excuse me. Anthony Richardson steps in, looks a little lost. Now they come in with Daniel Jones, and they go back to being it. Does that mean that Daniel Jones wasn't it before? I think he was on a team that didn't let him prosper. I could see if I find the clip. Malik Neighbors was like, it's not the quarterback. It's not the quarterback. They asked him, what was it? He's like, I don't know, but it's not the quarterback. So maybe Daniel Jones had this potential in him all along. Maybe Indianapolis knows what to do with these role-playing quarterbacks, just to tell them, hey, go here, throw this. You know what I mean? Keeping it simple for him. I don't know what it is. But what I do know is this is a fantastic game. You got a 2-1 against a 3-0. And it looks like the Rams are projected to win this game. But on the same side of that, I don't think the Colts were projected to win any of their games. Dolphins, obviously, they're supposed to beat. The Broncos, they probably thought that the Broncos were going to beat them. And the Titans are the Titans. So they played 2 kind of mid teams. Not to take anything away from, what are they calling him? Indiana Jones. He's doing a great job. But I think that there's something to be said about playing a contender in the regular season. And I want to say the Rams are a contender. The Rams are always that team that they're nice, but they're never really spoken about in that bubble of the teams that are always supposed to be good, like the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs. Even the Bengals are usually in that conversation because of the spirit of their quarterback and their coaches, right? Even the Chargers get put in that conversation, I would say, arguably, more than the Rams. Matt Stafford's a Hall of Famer. Devontae Adams is a Hall of Famer. Sean McVay is one of the youngest coaches to ever do it. They won a chip maybe like within the last 5 years. So why would you forget about them as often as I feel they're forgotten about? It's a shame. I think they could win this game. I could see, let me look at the little odds on this one right here. The spread's only 3. That's a tough one, I gotta say. But with that being said, I think this might be the best game of the 4 o'clocks. Let's see if I can find a good one on the 1 o'clocks. Washington, is Jaden Daniels playing? That's what I want to know. Jaden Daniels has been ruled out. Wow, so Mariota's playing a game again. That's not a great game. And don't get me wrong, I was always a Mariota guy. I remember when he came into the league, Unk status, feel me? He hurdled someone last game, and I was like, whoo! And then he fumbled the ball right after that. I was like, oh my God, bro. No wonder he's the backup. So that's not the one. I don't think anybody, I don't say anybody. I did not expect for Atlanta to lose the way they did against Carolina last week. No clue. I thought Carolina was the team to beat. I thought Carolina was the one that everyone was going to roll over. Just another team just down the line as good players and good teams go through. They even put Kirk Cousins in that game. That's my speaker talking. That just scared the hell out of me, if I'm being honest. Philly Tampa Bay at 1 o'clock is pretty good. Philly Tampa Bay is pretty exciting. And while I'm speaking about Tampa Bay, I got to bring this up before I jump into the Monday night games because there's 2, count them, 2 clip. Listen, bro. I already assumed we were gonna lose that game. You like my sweater, don't you? You feel me? Damn. I think that I was already expecting us to lose to Tampa Bay because of the conversation I had with David on the show, because of the conversation I have with a lot of people that are in the area. Oh, I think they could do it. I think they could do it. I didn't think they could do it. And then we were out of the game. It was the third quarter. We're out of the game. I actually went to go do other stuff. I think I took a shower. I was setting up some food. I was heating up a little plate. You know what I mean? And then I come back. My boy calls me. Shout out to Eamon. And he's like, yo, you got to turn on this game. I'm like, what are you talking about? I go. And it was right before the blocked punt. Shout out to Will McDonald. That was a fantastic play. And he ran that back for a touchdown. And then we were up by 1 point with like a minute and some change left. That is the time for the secondary to lock the fuck in. Excuse my language. That's the time for the defense. You got a minute and a half. You don't have to get a pick. You might not even need a sack. A sack would be great, but you might not even need one. Just don't let them get in the field goal range. But last second Baker Mayfield and last second Egbuka is one of the biggest problems in the NFL right now. Obviously, they caught the overtime, the last second touchdown in week 1, and then they made it happen in week 2, and then they win off a field goal in week 3. They're doing it in crunch time. They're looking like Kansas City last year. Like, their point differential is nothing, but they're getting it done. Tampa Bay's record, let's look at it really quick. They're 3-0 against another 3-0. This is the 1 o'clock game of the week, I gotta say. Obviously, Philly's been doing Philly things. A.J. Brown went absolutely crazy last week. Baker Mayfield's looking like a contender. This is a really, really good game. So the games to watch, just to sum it up, on Sunday for me would be Philly, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Kansas City is a pretty good one, actually. And Indy, LA. Those are my favorite. And then the Sunday night is Green Bay, Dallas. Another good one. For us, on Monday night. The first one on Monday night. Now, I just talked to you about 2 3-0 teams. This is the other side of that coin. We got 2 0-3 teams with my guys in green, the New York Jets against the Miami Dolphins. Divisional game. Where is this game at? Is it in Miami? It is. It's in Miami. It's a little scary for me. It looked like Miami kind of tried to turn it on against Buffalo, so that might tell me that they played divisional games a little harder. I'm a little nervous. The Dolphins are projected to win. That makes me really, really nervous. Let me see this. Is Justin? So Justin Fields had a concussion, right? I want to know if he's back. He practiced fully on Friday, which is yesterday for us. I'm trying to put out the episode today, so it should be yesterday for those watching as well. He practiced fully. Does that mean he's playing? He probably will. If he's still concussed, do I want him to play? No. Tyrod Taylor, even though he did it late and he threw a pick last game, I think I'd still prefer him, bro. I'd rather someone that's fully healthy than someone that isn't, in any scenario. So that's going to be a hard one for us, I got to say. I will never tell you that I think I got us in a game the same way I'll never wear a jersey on game day. It's just part of my superstitions. I wish my team the best of luck. I'll put it like that. So that's the agony in my heart talking to you. Let's go into the next Monday night game. It's a decent one. You don't got Joe Burrow playing, but it's a 2-1 against a 1-2. Jake Browning isn't a slouch, but he wasn't looking like him last game. It looks like Denver is the strong favorite, which maybe they surprised some people with that. Obviously, Denver's defense is known to be a little better. The Bengals' defense usually is nowhere to be found, and they're kind of carried by their offense. So if Jake Browning can't figure it out, they might be in a whole lot of trouble. I'm a big fan of Cortland Sutton. I want you guys to see my fantasy aspirations. We'll talk about that in a second, but definitely a good game overall. The spread on this one's 7.5. Listen, for the occasional ticket here and there, the Bengals are at plus 320. If they happen to turn it on offensively, that was a pretty good odds for the money line. I'm going to leave that right there as well. So, we're doing pretty hot. Let's get right into the fantasy. Create a league, join a league. What are we on about? We know that this is King of the Corner, man. So here we go. Let's go right into the fantasy cast. This will be easier for us to talk about. I got a 43% chance to win. Let's see if I can zoom this out, actually. Beautiful. So, we got Josh Allen against Patty Mahomes. Great matchup. Breece Hall, I think, could do a lot against Miami, where Bijan got absolutely shut down in Carolina. I'm not sure what he could do in Washington. Alvin Kamara against Buffalo seems like a hard matchup. And then I lost James Conner, but I had the handcuff in Trey Benson. Put up 10.4. Is that what I want out of him every week? No. But as his first start at RB1, I'm not super disappointed in it. That just kind of means that in the RB room, I kind of need Breece Hall to go crazy. I like my receivers more with Jamar and Ladd against Jacoby and Chris Olave. Funny enough, I offered Albert a trade 1 week, offering him Keon Coleman and another player for Jacoby and Chris Olave. So something tells me he's starting both because he's feeling a little petty. You know what I'm saying? But that might be wrong. Juwan Johnson, again, starting multiple players, 3 players from New Orleans this week. I hope that pans out well for him. Jalen Waddle against New York. They kind of switch cornerbacks the way they play, so Sauce might be on Jalen like half the time. Obviously, you can't leave Tariq open, but I think when it comes down to it, I don't know I think that Miami's receiving room is one of the most confusing things in the league right now. So that's a big question mark for me. I like the Packers defense against Dallas a lot, especially with CD out. He might have a good game. And Eagles defense against Tampa Bay really scares me, actually, on the other side of that. But I like my flex more than his flex with Roma Dunze. Roma Dunze is having a year. Can I tell you that? And I still haven't decided whether I'm going to start Dalton Kincaid or my boy Tucker Kraft. You already know how that goes. Marvin Harrison Jr., there was a lot of jokes about him, like missing a lot of catches, this and that. He ended up with 18.6, which isn't a bad game at all. Like, if my receiver gave me 18.6, I'm like, good job. You know what I'm saying? But this is a hard one. This is a close one. You know, I always plead the fifth with my teams. I'm projected 112. He's projected 124. I think anything could happen. Yeah, it just comes down to that. I think for me, it'll really come down to how well the Buffalo plays defense against New Orleans, obviously, because his whole team is New Orleans. So if Buffalo has a good game, I'm chilling. And if Buffalo's defense locks down those receivers that he has on his team, then that means that Josh Allen might not need to do as much offensively, which could turn into a bunch of good signs for me. So let me paint you this picture really quick. I'm not going to tell you my projection because it's my game, but Buffalo's defense locks down Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson. Now they have nothing, right? Because they have nothing, Josh Allen doesn't need to put up that many points, so he does nothing. That's 4 out of his whatever players doing nothing. I think that's a good look for me. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. Moving forward, I picked Kate Athong against Joe Foreign. 0-3 against 2-1. Joey's really not doing too hot. Trey McBride put up 12.2 for Caillou last week. I really like Matt Stafford against Indy. I'm not sure how I feel about Carson Wentz against Pittsburgh. I think he gets clobbered. Devon Achane against, unfortunately, I think he could have a good game. And then Christian McCaffrey might just do whatever he wants against Jacksonville. I like the Cam. I'm going to have to talk to Caillou about that one. I really like the Cam Scatterboo start. Obviously, Tyrone Tracy got hurt. He has potential to become the RB1. And he was breaking ribs out there, literally, last game. So, big shout out to that. Jordan Mason being the RB1, I think he could also have a good game. But you got to worry about TJ Watt out there at the end of the day. So, I think that's... I got to say I like Caillou's running back so far more. Nico Collins, A.J. Brown, I like A.J. Brown more. Zay Flowers against Sterling Shepard, I like Zay Flowers more. So, this is getting a little interesting. Trey McBride put up 12. Do I think that Sam Laporta will put up... Also, I emphasized this in one episode, and I want to emphasize it one more time. What in the world is that mustache, bro? He has the Dr. Eggman, I have to stop Sonic the Hedgehog mustache. Can we zoom in on this really quick? What the heck is that one? That was like what the Mario movie where Chris Pratt played Mario. That's what he's looking like. Got the blue eyes and everything. The schnoz on this guy. I really think that is something that needs to be spoken about. Sam Laporta, I love you, brother. You made me lose my fantasy last year. Shave that shit off. Now we're gonna keep on moving along. I don't see Sam Laporta getting more than 12 against Cleveland. Honestly, I think that Detroit figures it out. Let's look at his points. I looked at his mustache, not his points. Here we go. Fantasy points. Here we go. 13 last week, but then 5 and 7. So there's more of a chance he puts up less than 12 than more than 12. I like those odds. I like Chris Godwin over DJ Moore though. So overall, I'm gonna say give me Caillou. I'm sorry, bro. Joey, you might go on for. Sorry, man. So, we're moving on. 113 in Noel's team to Saquon D's Nuts, Brandon Barge, 126 to 113. I like Lamar over Caleb, off top. I like Saquon more than Jonathan Taylor, off top. I like Kyron more than I like J.K. Dobbins, off top. I like DK. But Minnesota's defense is good. But Tua hasn't really been Tuaing. If Tua has a good game, I like Tyreek over DK Metcalf. I hate Devontae Smith. Can we put that out there? Can't stand the guy. Can we look at his numbers really quick so I can talk shit? 20 last week. Great game last week against the Rams, actually. But then 4 and 9. So it's very much boomer bust for him. Very inconsistent. Xavier Worthy, kind of having the same issue. Let's see. Has been able to practice in a limited fashion. I thought he was injured. Doesn't have a designation for Sunday's contest against the Ravens. So there's even a chance that Xavier Worthy doesn't play. That's not a good look.
Double tight ending it on the flex. So I'm definitely going to have a conversation with him about that. I don't know, man. Overall, I think I got Brandon on this one. Noel hit me on the side, little exclusive. Hit you with the exclusive. Hit me on the side and was like, I think depending on how my game goes this week, I might shock the world in fantasy coming up. So, what does that mean? Who knows? But I got Brandon. This one we got Alex. Neighbors think I'm selling dope over bend over 123 to 116. We'll just go person by person. I definitely like Baker over Drake May. I like Josh Jacobs over Chase Brown. Omarion Hampton looks like he's going to become the RB1, but New York's front line, that little sexy Dexy dance, whatever that he be doing, I like him as the RB1, but he might get shut down. David Montgomery had a field day. Can I tell you about that? A field day last week. I think he put up 29. Take a little look. Yeah, 29. And it's only getting higher, but now he plays a really good rushing defense. So that might be hard for him. Malik Neighbors and Puka, that's a pretty good matchup. And then Keenan Allen against Quentin Johnston. So for me, I think that this game really comes down to how good the Chargers produce against New York. Because you got Charger player. I think, and who does well and who doesn't. If all goes properly and the players that should produce should, all in all, I think I got Alex on this one. Sorry, Ronnie. Just being honest. Click on these last two. Got David 3-0 against Petey 3-0. 116 projected against 126. And Jigba put up 13. Now, in Jigba, I told you he got shut down. 4 catches for 80 yards. He's been putting up, before this week, over like 95 a game. So for him to get shut down and have 80, he still put up 13. It's not a horrible game. So we're going to get through that. Cortland Sutton has potential to have a really good game against Cincinnati. And so does Brock Bowers against Chicago. Justin Herbert, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but they have a good rushing defense. There's a chance to get to him a lot. Bo Nix might have a field day. This little Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton might be the explosion factor for Petey this week. I like Jameer. I don't like Jameer Gibbs against Cleveland, actually, like I said. Myles Garrett and the other guy they have on the other side of the line, I can't think of his name right now, but kind of nasty. Then you got James Cook against New Orleans, might have a field day. Amon-Ra against Cleveland might be slow. So I think for this one, it might be, who gets the ball more in Detroit. I could see them having less of a run game because of Myles Garrett, so then they might end up throwing the ball more, which could be good for David. George Pickens is going to get a lot of volume because CeeDee's out. Garrett Wilson, I don't know what's going on with Tyrod Taylor, so I can't really bank on that. Zach Ertz, I like him against Atlanta. And Romeo Doubs, that's kind of a hard one because, like I said, they just lost to Cleveland, so I don't really know what these odds are looking like. What do his points look like? 8, 11, and 4. So he's doing flex things. You know what I'm saying? I like Petey's team less, I gotta say. Looking at this up and down, obviously Derrick Henry I like more than Chuba Hubbard, but Derrick Henry has been fumbling every single game. Let's see if I can pull that up. Does it say that anywhere? Let's see. In the short term, they extend to a RB2 performance. So this is a hard one. It's also impossible to disregard Henry's recent troubles with the ball security, as he's lost 2 fumbles that have significantly contributed to each of Baltimore's losses. So, yes, Derrick Henry I like more, but he needs to hold that rock. Ball protection, elbow to chest. Listen, hold it. Listen, that's what you got to do. He's on pace to become like a top 5 running back of all of history, and he still is. But in fantasy-wise, if he doesn't hold on to the ball this game, I think I got David on this one, honestly, bro. It's hard to say, but it's just facts. Now, Kelvin against Obi, Ashton 316. Neither have any players that have played this week. Daniel Jones could have a Daniel Jones type of game. Jalen Hurts also could have a good game. Bucky Irving,
I don't know about him at RB1. Let's see what kind of points he has had. But I definitely don't like DeAndre Swift. 14, 18, and 13. He's actually been doing pretty good, I got to say. DeAndre Swift with a Q next to his name. 9, 3, and 10. What's his injury status looking like? He's questionable. So there's a chance he doesn't even play. That's kind of hard. Both his RBs with a Q. That's not a good look. So his RBs are already looking better. Devontae Adams with a Q. Now that's a different story. Does that pop up at all? No recent news. So should be a good sign that he's good to go. McMillan, Carolina. Obviously they had a great week last week. Let's see how many points he put up last week. Only 7. Also, they had an explosive game, but not him. So that's a big yikes. Brian Thomas probably hasn't really been doing a lot. Yeah, he's been putting up flex numbers. And then Drake London, he put up 10 last week. I think I like Obi's receivers more. I like Travis Kelce. Oh, but Justin Jefferson, I like him more than Genty. You got to give it to him. So I like his flex more. His running backs are both hurt. I like his running backs, and I like his receivers. Give me Obi. Give me Obi, man. And we'll wrap it up just like that. Listen, from the bottom of my heart, I hope you guys keep enjoying the show. I keep trying to let you guys know that this is where we're going to be at. I'm going to be more consistent, and we're going to just keep on rocking. So keep rocking with me. Like and subscribe, right, as the people tell me to say. And as always, I'll see ya.